Yeah, no, I mean, I've only been in town, like a week, but yeah, I love it here. I mean, it's like they say, that you got the mountains and the water and, just all the trees, man, wow. And, yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm here for work, but yeah, like that's totally awesome that you live in Ballard too. Like I say, I'm just totally new to the neighborhood. I'm just still exploring, Hey, ice cream, huh? Yeah, that's gonna be fun later, right? We should hang out. Like, what do you think? Like tomorrow? Are you free tomorrow to hang, or should I give you my number? Like, maybe we can, hit a bar or something.
May I have the password, please?
I'm sorry, what?
Please, what is the password?
I don't know any password. I just thought we could be friends.
Sucks, a podcast about hating the city we love. It's me, Colin. I'm here with Greg and Brian.
Hey.
Hello.
I just want to say, before we really get going, I had a fantastic time.
Fuck you.
Oh, thanks.
I don't even know what you're talking about, but I already don't like it.
Wow, I was going to say, seeing Eyes Wide Shut and Society at the Beacon.
I was there for that.
Mm-hmm.
And also...
Colin, sounds like you had a fantastic time despite Greg being there.
I think that's right. Getting to meet Wes and Jamie.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So all this time, I don't know how I first picked up on this, some cultural context clues. I've been saying, what's the at?
I think it's WESCZ. Is that right?
Yeah. I've been saying all this time that they must be an Iranian woman, and... I was right, and all this time you've been saying, nah, they're probably a doughy white bearded guy who looks like me, and I am right. We now know. So
I don't remember ever saying that, first of all, but you're right. You are right.
We thought he was part of our regular demographic.
Yeah, well, wrong again, guys.
Yeah. Well, that ruled. I know you had a fantastic time, Brian. You just can't stop talking about that movie.
Me and Eyes Wide Shut, we are like this.
Yeah. Also, Society, watching that, it's better even than the last time I saw it.
It was amazing.
It's kind of a masterpiece. Well, it's great, so...
I will rent and watch Society.
You have to.
Oh, yeah. It's really
I couldn't
good.
stay late because, the Sandman was tugging at my little eyelids, and, I had to go, but yeah.
It's okay. If, we were happy to watch that film in peace without your guffawing and Bryn's cackling.
Colin only got a little bit of it because we were trying to be at our best behavior, but our loud talking in the movie annoys the shit out of Greg, apparently. Although, I will say, the last time I watched a movie with you, this motherfucker was doing most of the loud talking, including...
Okay, yeah, that was... Angel Has Fallen or whatever.
Well, no, I think we were all talking about that one. I was thinking more Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but no, Angel Has Fallen was a free, faster, everybody did whatever, but yeah. Look, when you're watching Gerard Butler be Gerard Butler with a Nick Nolte cameo, you can't help but let the shit fly.
I think I know a spoiler for that, so I won't say it.
It's a good movie.
Yeah, the spoiler is the best movie of the year.
Very good movie.
Extremely good. Best of the Has Fallen series.
I don't know about that.
I
don't.
London Has Fallen is the most offensive, which is saying a lot because they're very offensive.
Yeah,
all three
London Has Fallen. It's most offensive. To me, it's the most insane as well. Like
it's probably
the craziest action. The Angel Has Fallen is comparatively understated.
It is, but it's a real character study of Gerard Butler's character, and I feel like there's a lot of layers to Paul Blart or whatever his name is in the fucking movie. It's got a lot of layers. I enjoyed peeling that onion. Mm-hmm. It brings up the question of CTE, a real issue for Secret Service agents everywhere.
Topical.
I do like that it's like...
Did it bring up prostitutes and... what else do they like?
That's the best part about the
Strippers?
Has Fallen series, pretending that Secret Service agents are anything other than the biggest dumbasses in the federal government.
The Angel Has Fallen, the villains in it, it is the only credible villain of the series, because the rest are just like, some kind of like, it's all like it's always false flags, right? But it's like they're like various like terrorists or like I get them confused, but whatever. But
it's North Korea, I think, in the first one,
which rules.
They flew a plane across the entire United States without anybody noticing.
How do you know they didn't go over the North Pole, dumbass?
Oh shit! You know what, Greg? You got me there.
Yeah, I did. North Korea is going to get you there. But no, the villain is the most credible in that it's basically Eric Prince and Blackwater.
Yeah.
It like just tries to assassinate the president for money and for then later down the road for more influence and more contracts, and it specifically like a shitload of transferring a lot of like Pentagon budget, like some significant to a single like global mercenary company amount of work to mercenary contractors.
Yeah. The plan was to like shift the war burden to mercenaries or whatever. Yeah. So definitely not a thing that gets talked about or whatever. Yeah, they were more topical in Angel Has Fallen. That's probably why I liked it more. Like I felt like they captured the moment.
Like, just this rapacious capitalist mercenary just treating the world like it,
But it was basically a documentary.
Yeah. Or it was, it was looking into the future, because that's the one. It's the one plot of a Has Fallen movie that could maybe happen.
Yeah. Now they do have to answer how "Thank You for Smoking" guy turned into Morgan Freeman between the second and third one.
He was so confused. Like, why isn't that guy president forever? And obviously term limits.
Yeah.
He was term limited, dude.
Look, after what he did in London, because he also kills some guys in London. Like, he murks some terrorists himself. So I think president for life at that point.
Well, he probably wanted to spend more time with his family.
Maybe he had CTE issues as well.
Thought his wife died.
Whatever. I don't.
Dude, get a new wife.
Damn, Colin's right. Colin's right. His wife did die.
Dude,
I think
Naomi Judd is off that damn cliff, right?
Well, wasn't Gerard Butler like part of that or something?
Yeah, he couldn't get her out, and then he was trying to get the seatbelt off.
Yeah, that was the heart of their initial dislike of
strife,
each other.
Yeah,
but then they came back together in London so they could kill some Terrys.
Wow. Okay. This is.
I just watched the first one, so it's very fresh.
Cool. This podcast is awesome.
All right, let's move on. Let's definitely not edit all of that out.
Yeah. Let's definitely not do that. So I think, I don't know how you guys like your water. Usually if I'm getting water, I prefer it unleaded, but sometimes just for the thrill, I get a little lead.
People like heavy metal on the radio, but they don't like it in their water.
Yeah, it fucks up. It messes with my catalytic converter.
If you don't know what the fuck we're talking about, it's that
there's lead in your water, probably.
Yeah,
probably.
Most likely. Asterisk.
Better to assume.
Yeah. But there's definitely lead at the King County Jail.
Well, and when we had talked before the show about this, we're like, well, of course, it's a very old building, probably dating back to ye old times. So I went ahead and looked it up. 1986. That's when that came on board.
Like 2 years after our birth.
Yeah.
Genius.
Nobody knew about lead poisoning in 1986, though. So
no.
In their defense.
No. We're going to start seeing those commercials for like mesothelioma,
Oh,
it's like if you or someone was in jail.
I can guarantee you no one wants to represent those people. So, really cool. But also really predictable.
Totally.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just Flint. That was a particularly like horrible thing that happened that probably, no one will ever really fix or in a meaningful way or get punished for or whatever. But probably a lot of America has lead in the water. We could just guess. I mean, it seems like that.
King County Jail.
Yeah. So I mean, why just the jail? Probably a lot of. Why not? I mean, what did they go like? Well, this is a jail. We should probably put lead in the water. I mean, no. It's like, it's connected up to the same water system anybody else has. The fact that it is so new makes you think it must be coming from pipes that were in the ground, like previously, because it's not. They did not put. It's impossible.
Oh yeah, that they would
imagine
use
they put lead pipes in 1986. In the 70s, sure, but that's how fucking stupid we are in America. But
well, I think they right after the Flint thing came out, I think they had done like some people had done some research like around the Midwest and maybe some other major American cities. And I think they found, like, in a lot of cities, they had lead levels, like, higher than Flint. So, yeah, I think it's very real. Like, we're probably all, like, slowly fucking going crazy from heavy metal poisoning.
Filter your water, people. I was saying earlier.
Do not filter your water. Do not listen to Greg.
Look, I grew up drinking the water out of the tap, but because people are always saying, oh, the water's so good here.
But now there's a fancy homeowner.
But, no, my entire adult life, since I moved out, actually, maybe we might have got a Brita before, like my last few years living at home. I have filtered the water because I was just like, the commercials are too convincing, right? It's like someone's trying to sell me something to filter lead out of my water,
and I'll buy that for $1.
I'm like, I mean, if there's even a tiny bit of lead,
I want that shit gone.
even a tiny over the course of your lifetime, just like please remove the lead from water. So just out of like a paranoia and like they're affecting effective commercials, effective marketing. And now I'm just waiting for the day that we hear that I was justified in doing that.
Greg is desperate to live long enough to see President Joe Biden and Vice President Corn Pop.
No, I just don't want to have like madness,
Corn
like
Pop, R.I.P.
Joe Biden when I'm running for president.
Yeah. I won't. Yeah, maybe that's what's wrong with Joe Biden. All our brains are going to be like Joe Biden's because of lead poisoning.
I think
very shortly.
That motherfucker is on his last shunt. He's getting too old for the shunt.
Oh man, yeah.
I mean, it's this is a Seattle podcast, but it is worth saying that this is the greatest show in America right now. Is watching Joe Biden die live on television,
which is what we said when we had Maddie on the show. We were talking about this was before his eye like almost turned to bloody goop. And then his teeth fell out, and then he told you.
We've been talking about this all the time.
To turn on the record player for your kids because you can't speak
you're poor
to them
and stupid, and you don't talk to them.
I think in the context of the question, it was like very specifically like black children need more record player time,
and and
less time at the public pool. We know that.
Then he comes out to tell us about kicking the shit out of Corn Pop. It was like brandishing a knife that he got from a box of cereal or something.
He had that straight razor, but Joe Biden had that chain.
Oh my god!
I mean, that's
like some Streets of Rage, like Battletoads. Shit.
It's truly remarkable that there is a significant chance that we're going to see him debate Donald Trump. Like it's like an 80% chance.
They're both just going to fall asleep and like soil their diaper.
Well, I maintain that the Joe Biden Donald Trump super ticket is about to happen.
I guess Trump would fall asleep. Right?
I think that's more likely than him making it through the first half of the primaries. But
Biden,
yeah.
Oh,
thank God. But yeah, it could happen. So,
So as we just said, the water is great at the jail as long as you're drinking it out of the water bottles that they're supplying. And this is important because our fancy, awesome mayor has just announced that she's got big plans for the jail. And what could that be? So I believe this is sort of on the tail of Scott Lindsay's infamous list, which as far as I know, originated in Seattle is Dying, which was his like MVPs of crime list.
Yeah, he had like put it out basically for the big like anti-homeless push.
Yeah.
And as we've covered on the show before, it's like total horse shit, but whatever.
Yeah, but of course we have to kowtow to these people, and so Mayor Jenny is looking to quell the downtown disorder, and she's got a plan for that, and the plan includes putting those people in the jail.
Well,
what do you know?
Well, the plan is actually to create, because they were like, a lot of people that are homeless, because the Downtown Seattle Association, also known as Seattle DSA.
Of which Maddie is a captain.
President.
Yeah.
Captain.
Yeah.
But yeah, they, were obviously like up the mayor's ass and city council's ass that they had to do something about all these dangerous homeless people everywhere, in which the mayor was only too happy to propose a plan. And, because this is Seattle and, we believe that, people are people and, they need help, they need treatment. She did propose to fund a 60-bed treatment center just to, help with people that are maybe having addiction issues or things like that. And the thing is, like, 60-bed treatment center, where do you put it? Naturally, King County Jail.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, yeah, that makes total sense because, when you're helping human beings, with a health issue, you put them in a hospital.
Right, which we also
you're helping
learned,
the criminal underclass with a health issue, you put them in a jail.
Well, wait, Greg, that's not all. They're also putting a low-barrier homeless shelter inside the jail, which is...
like, come on in!
Which I was like, isn't that the jail? Like, is that what we use the jail for?
Which they're expanding, right? Because this is an existing
so
program.
Like, check yourself into jail? Like,
well, because we don't have enough beds, it's become... Yeah, it's become an ad hoc.
Well, these people need treatment, which is why we're sending them to the place with lead in the water, where the water's so contaminated you can't even drink it.
Yeah, that rules.
This is fucking genius. Well, this is like, this is what we were saying about Saul Spade's, rant. His ideas last week is like, this is a non-starter right from the beginning. This gives it away. This gives away the game, the way these people think, and just has to be opposed by, at every possible turn, this idea that says, we have this homeless population. They have, there are various problems, whatever the reasons are, health issues, economic issues, whatever they're willing to admit. And we have, our own take on that, but the second you start talking about people not having a place to live, not being able to afford a place to live, and your solution is incarceration, like that tells you everything you need to know right there. That is about, locking away a surplus population. And ultimately the rhetoric, as we also discussed last week, is ultimately exterminationist.
Right.
It's like getting rid of these people, cleaning them up like fucking pests.
Yeah, and to give you an idea of the treatment that you get there, which I had mentioned this on the Slack to brighten y'all's day, but I had a friend who told me the story who worked at King County Jail about having this homeless inmate come in looking for treatment. And upon further inspection, they found out that he had, basically a massive lice infection, tons of lice on him. And for a month, at least, he had this issue. But because he was schizophrenic, everybody just fucking ignored him. And it got to the point where he's scratching himself raw, bleeding, things like that. And this had been going on for a month before anybody even bothered to check. I mean, this is the treatment you get in jail, right? This is not unusual, because when you're in jail, you're not there to be treated. You're there to be forgotten, right? And
you're there to be not somewhere else.
Yeah.
That's it. That's all. That's what jail is for. It's for taking people
disappearing
you don't want around.
Yeah. And once you put them there, it's cool because now they're a non-person, right? Because they're an inmate and fuck them, right? And so,
And that is our culture, right? In this punitive culture of ours, that's why people are in jail. It's because they're being punished. So the second that gives you a direct line that if you want to get rid of someone and turn them into an unperson, you just start describing them as a criminal and the things they're doing, like, taking a shit without a home, or doing drugs without a home, or just sleeping without a home. You start describing that as criminal activity, and then they are subject to punishment, which is incarceration, which then solves the problem by doing what incarceration is really for, which is just fucking getting rid of people you don't want around.
Yeah, it's disappearing them. And what happens to them once they're there? Nobody cares, right?
Nobody cares. Yeah. And what happens is they rot away, and their life is made just worse, and often probably incapable of ever getting better, and people die in jail as well. Are abused in any number of ways, and their health deteriorates. And
I mean, it's an astounding bit of cynicism to be like, you have to help these people by putting them in jail, as if anybody's life ever got better because they went to fucking jail.
Yeah, well, they'll give
astonishingly cynical.
They'll cherry pick, those people like, oh, jail was the best thing that ever happened.
Saved my life.
Yeah.
Those are a small number of people. I'm guessing who would say that.
They've probably also been told that, but that jail saved their life.
Yeah. I mean, that's that whole like category of news story too, where they'll like grab the homeless guy off the street and essentially have them parrot some talking point they want. And I'm always like, well, it's great they didn't catch that like 10 minutes later when they just gave him $20 or whatever. I'm always just, let's just say, I find those to be dubious at best. But
the like guy says jail was great is the same thing as like cop rescues kitten or some shit. Like, it's like, I don't care. I'm more concerned with the murder.
Yeah. It's like, man says jail, not that bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good, actually. To your point, Greg, what's really funny is that Durkan made sure to be clear, that no one is saying any of these pilots alone is solving the problem. So,
good.
So we'll just continue to pluck people off the street and put them behind bars as more and more
people. What
people.
are you trying to solve?
I like that Jenny does agree with us, though, that just putting these people in prison will not solve the homeless problem, but wants to do it anyway.
One thing that I always try to say is that actually we do need to be saying that we cannot solve the problem on a municipal or county or even state level.
She does actually say that too.
But she says that to cover for what she's saying is we know we're not solving the broader problem of homelessness, which she is to imply but we are doing a little something in that direction. And that is not what we're doing. We're doing nothing to solve the broader problem of homelessness. Throwing those people in jail, for example, in addition to just grinding them into dust, doesn't prevent more people from becoming homeless all the time, because this is an economic problem. But it also does solve the actual problem that Mayor Jenny and the Downtown Seattle Association and all these other shitheads actually think, which is the aesthetic problem of these people existing. So by saying that this isn't solving a problem, she's covering for the fact that it is.
Right.
Well, John Scholes, president of the Downtown Seattle Association. I must be
that's
co-president
weird.
with that.
Yeah, that's odd.
But yeah, president of the Downtown Seattle Association. Luckily, he lays out what his opinion of these programs are for you, which is, he supports the programs, but said there's little to keep someone in the West Wing shelter, which is in the county jail, after they leave custody. So the problem with the people in the jail is that sometimes they get let out, right? So that's a big problem.
Which we've heard before.
Yeah,
so John continues, are the people that need to be in this facility, the jail, by the way, are the people that need to be in this facility the ones finding their way there?
Oh, God.
Or are we finding them on the corner of 3rd and Pine still? So
Cool.
there you go. Just laying it out right there for you. Right?
Are they the deserving ones or the bad ones?
We need a better algorithm for determining,
which was Samaritan, I thought.
Human value.
Is that still around? Can someone tell us if that's still around?
I mean, but their criteria
confirmed.
is aesthetic, essentially. Is
right.
What one do I see right now? That's the criminal who needs to be.
Yeah.
At some point, I mean, if you just follow this to its end point, it is death.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
People are being forgotten to die, and if we go down this road in another 10 years, we'll just be killing them. We'll just be gassing them.
Well, I think shortly after this announcement at the city, there was whisperings of Trump deploying the National Guard to LA to clean up Skid Row.
yeah.
And again, forcibly put people in facilities.
Yeah, those federal facilities are places you really don't want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, Trump just repeats everything he just saw on TV. Probably has watched Seattle is dying now at this point, and so it's very hot on this. But Mayor De Blasio in New York, I mean, not to be left behind, is also deploying half of NYPD into the subway, to catch fucking Bane or something in a Batman movie. Deploy him in the subway to fucking roust the homeless out of the subway. So,
as an answer to cleaning up our crumbling subway system, quote.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, don't put any money into actually fixing anything in the subway.
Yeah.
Just roust the homeless out. Which, by the way, once you roust the homeless out of the subway, they'll be, on the top level, and I'm sure that the business community will have no problem with that whatsoever.
Well,
so you won't just be doing the
out
exact
to the
same
street.
thing. Yeah,
you're gonna roust them somewhere else.
Yeah,
I mean. I'm going to take a wild guess and say it's a crime to be hanging out down in the subway tunnels.
Oh, yeah.
And so when and that's why you send in the cops, because they're not going to be there to give
to
them
connect you with
in a
services.
fucking house. They're going to connect them with jail.
Well, Greg,
and that's these are liberal fucking Democrat mayors we're talking about. De Blasio, Durkan,
Yeah, and I mean, the problem is they'll arrest them in the subway, Greg, but the real problem with the American criminal justice system is the defendants have too many rights, and the crime of homelessness only comes with a certain it's not a life sentence.
Yeah, that would solve.
So they will be back out on the street.
You need a permanent home.
Yeah, there you go.
In a permanent
solitary,
prison.
or a coffin,
one
or the other.
Yeah, I like the idea though of inviting people to check themselves in to King County Jail, come one, come all.
The city hates you.
Beds await
come
you.
Into this jail.
Everyone, find a new life.
I do like the
in
guy
America.
from, the Downtown Seattle Association too. Is it's like they don't even want to stay. They leave when they don't have to be in the jail anymore. I just can't believe that once they're in the jail, they don't want to stay in the jail.
This is exactly the line from Safe Seattle.
Yeah.
The thrilling last act of Safe Seattle, which is about
no one watched
need for an island prison.
Yeah.
I swear to God,
and
we're the only ones.
Christopher Rufo, who was edging the whole time.
Yeah, we're the only ones who saw it. That's the line is the reason these programs work. This is a clinic, a drug treatment clinic. They're talking about it's a hospital, and the doctors are going, well, the reason it works is the patients aren't allowed to leave. Oh, cool. Yeah.
That rocks. Well, also, I mean, why would you want to stay if you don't have water you can drink?
There's a stay with the poisoned water.
that really makes you feel great about the services you're gonna get.
It rules.
Well, and it's the thing that we had talked about in a previous episode too, where it's anything that isn't strictly a punishment for poor people is impossible, right?
Yeah.
You just can't even imagine it. They have to be punished. Their poverty alone means they have to be punished, and that's and that's it. That is the beginning, middle, and end of the political imagination is
well,
the poor have to be punished. The only question is how do we punish them? Like, you know.
Yeah, because they haven't quite. I mean, some
What
have accepted
Byzantine
death,
method do we use to punish them?
but not everyone yet, right? But slowly but surely that line will probably erode.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I mean, we're a civilized country, so we'll just punish them with a Byzantine legal system that considers every act they do to be a separate criminal offense.
Yeah.
That they'll have to answer for with either, fines that they can't pay, jail time, or like, banishments from like local areas and stuff. I mean, just what? Yeah, I mean, it's just insanely like fucking cruel country. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I think we've talked about this too, but it goes hand in hand with neoliberalism. Obviously, this internalization of markets and the belief, the like real foundational belief that we live in a meritocratic society. And as we said before, if you're poor, that is your fault somehow. And we don't owe you anything because you can go to college somewhere maybe and get a better job. It's up to you to improve your life. And we have bought that hook, line, and sinker. And it's just hard to get out of that mindset, I think.
I hope this tears the mask off in this town, though. Seattle sucks, everybody.
Yeah,
this is not some
really
liberal,
does.
progressive place. What did we say?
Yeah.
When we suffered through that fucking Safe Seattle, and we saw that island prison at the end, the loving flyover, like the call to intern the homeless in an island where they can't escape.
Yeah, what was it?
And
answer...
Yeah, it's
Waiting
answer without a
waiting for
question.
Yeah.
The
They're like showing like Treblinka, and they're like an answer waiting for a question.
and what do we say? It was like this will work, and give it time. Jenny will come around, and we'll pivot to this.
Yeah,
we said it.
Yeah, and she did, and she is, and she will.
Yeah.
What a disgusting piece of shit.
Yeah, it's hard to feel good about this one.
Yep. Not a lot of comedy to wring out of this guy, but yeah, I mean that's where it is,
Yeah.
Cool.
But in funnier news, Brian, I think you found this, right?
I think you led with this was hilarious for the last story, so
well,
I don't believe you.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to do that.
I did find this one, Colin, and I gotta tell you, it's a treat.
It really is a gift. So, all you fans of vigilante justice,
and I think maybe quickly becoming my favorite Seattle Times columnist Danny Westneat.
Oh yeah,
This guy, he is something.
So, I'm just gonna read this headline because it's so damn funny. Police had a citizen set up a sting to buy back his stolen stuff. Then they didn't show up.
Burn.
You thought
his ass out
cops
to dry.
couldn't get any worse. Like they're already murdering people and just being generally like just shithead impunity 24 hours a day.
Right.
Like, but I mean, what? Imagine like going in to a situation going like, wow, the cops want to help me, and believing it.
Yeah.
Which the first reason maybe not. So I haven't read this. I don't know. That's my
gonna
first
love it.
inkling not
You're
to
gonna
have
love
any
it.
sympathy for this guy, because he's like, oh, the cops will help me, and then he believes that for a second. He like, But on the other hand, I'm still open to sympathy for this guy because okay, he got some stuff stolen, right? And he filed a police report. I mean, that might have been his first mistake, but he filed a police report, and they were like, cool, you know what? We can actually help you get this back. And it was like, oh, sure. I mean, if, you're not really, okay. So I'm ready. I'm ready to believe him. I'm ready to believe in him. But
and
changed my mind.
This is what is it? Death Wish 3? Isn't that the one where the cops are like, "We need you to go
it's Death
do
Wish
this"?
3,
Yeah.
The best one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it rolls.
So just have that in your mind. Okay.
Yeah.
So it begins. At the time, the plan seemed thrilling. A break from the usual "sorry, safety first" mantra of the authorities. Plus, it was backed by the Seattle police. So the feeling was, what could go wrong?
Yeah, that famously reliable organization.
Extremely good, unbesmirched.
Okay, I do see this. I have sympathy for this just sort of hapless moron who, as a just hapless idiot, could think that. Like, I have a little sympathy for someone going like, well, the cops said to do it. What could go wrong? Like, I get that. I mean, I don't think I would have that reaction, but I get it. I get it. But for Danny to have that take is a little embarrassing, Danny. What could go wrong?
I think Danny...
Seattle PD?
Sweet
you
Greg.
are going to find
Sweet
that
Greg.
Danny has a very different take.
Sweet, innocent Greg.
My favorite thing is that, like, because we're, from the moment we're born, just relentlessly propagandized about officer friendly and the police are your friend, all that kind of stuff, that we all do kind of like realize the real world. Like, the scales get pulled back from our eyes, like each in our own individual way. And for most of us, it's having like a very awful experience with a police officer, like doing something to you.
Yeah.
But I do love that every once in a while, it's somebody just realizing that, like, no, these are like a bunch of fucking morons just do whatever they want, right? Like, I asked them to come help me and they just fucked me. And it's like, yeah, dude, look, they're completely unaccountable. What did you think would happen?
Well, they're also like the dumbest shitheads our society produces. That's why they're cops.
Yeah, they're completely unaccountable, absolute morons. Like, and lazy as fuck. Like,
the laziest, dumbest people in America and this city are police officers.
We must retain them, Greg. We must.
At all costs.
God. All right, lay it on me. Lay it on. I'm ready.
After a Greenwood
Veins
man
are open.
was ripped off last month, officers suggested he, the victim, surreptitiously arranged to buy his stuff back from the thief.
What stuff?
Who had advertised it for sale online. I think they tell us a little later.
Yeah, thanks for the bike, dork.
Yeah. The police would be waiting nearby the buyback spot and would swoop in for a dramatic arrest.
That rules. Cool.
I felt like I was part of a sting operation, the man, a web developer in Greenwood, told me.
Oh, fucking dork.
Except
sounds like a real dork.
that something went wrong. This is very burn after reading.
Well, and also, too, this is like, this just occurred to me, too. This is the, like, nerdy kid in high school who, like, some jock, like, borrowed his homework one day, so he thinks they're tight, and he's like, that dude's got my back, right? Like, he's gonna start a fight, and, like, his ass fucking rocked. Like, why didn't you back me up? Yeah, he's just reliving high school.
Oh, yeah,
basically.
completely. Except that something went wrong. At the appointed time and place for the sting, 8 p.m. one night last month, in the corpse of the Northgate Mall parking lot, the cops didn't show.
First off, bad place for a meeting.
Oh, yeah, real bad place.
Meet me at the abandoned mall.
Yeah, the place they're about to
the cops probably
demolish.
suggested that so that,
They didn't have to go.
No, so it was a safe place to have a shootout. Because that, when they were setting this up in their mind, they're like, oh, man, maybe this will go wrong and we'll get to, like, unload our sidearms,
Yeah.
So we better pick a place with a good, like, empty backdrop. You know?
Meet at the California Pizza Kitchen.
What I don't get is, like, you would call, like, if you're going to set something up with this, you wouldn't be just like, yeah, see you in a few days at this time. You'd want to be, like, on the phone with them, like, before.
I think he does keep up communication with them.
We'll hear about that a little bit.
Cool, all right.
Yeah. We'll hear it play out.
I got hung out to dry, the man says now. Spoiler alert, nobody got hurt in the making of this column. We'll get to what happened in a minute. But in a city where it has become a given that when your stuff gets stolen, the police won't have the resources to help much.
In a city.
That's literally every city in America.
Fuck you fucking credulous, cop-sucking. Fuck off. Nowhere in the world
Oh yeah.
can you
real.
retrieve stolen stuff by someone when you don't know who stole it. No police force in the world has ever been able to do anything because it's just think about it. It's impossible.
Yeah, close enough to impossible.
Like what? Like unless you're talking about, I mean, we're talking about like petty theft here,
Right. Oh yeah,
it's
yeah,
like
yeah.
small items. Like,
Yeah.
there's no. I'm sorry. There's no way to do this.
Yeah, basically, like the police don't care about your bike, dude. Like they just don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Nowhere.
Well, they can't.
From-
even if
From
there was-
Mayberry to Seattle. Yeah. What?
even if there was
How much of their time
somehow a
would be
police
wasted?
department was a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
thing, which it's not, and there's no, I'm sorry,
Yeah,
like
yeah. This is an
there's no
impossible
way to
task.
get that stuff back.
Well,
Except this, which would be like an enormous undertaking to do every time. So that's why you
and
can't do it.
that's what Danny thinks should be happening because he goes on to say, acts of amateur vigilantism are becoming increasingly common
Hell yeah! Now we're getting to the
during my nocturnal emissions. I think is what-
What? Like, does he cite anything?
No,
here?
this is again just like
Dark
I-
Knight Rises.
I feel like vigilantes are roaming the streets.
I'm conjuring.
No,
He does have some
he cites a
anecdotes.
guy.
He's got
He's got a
anecdata.
guy.
Okay, all
is
right.
what he's got.
All right, I want to hear this.
So he says, especially when it's the police urging you on. So again, this is, the stranger school of padding your word count a little bit here. We've already had vigilantes who ended up famous, like Seattle's Bike Batman. He's the anonymous engineer who makes online offers to buy stolen bikes. But instead of buying them, he simply takes them back, returning them to their rightful owners, like a real-life superhero.
So
First of all, not like a real life superhero. Like
the bus
I don't
lady.
know
Like
about
the
this
bus
guy.
lane
I don't know
lady.
about this guy, but I have a feeling somehow he turns
No.
out to be a big asshole.
Yeah, that's a falling down
Yeah,
hobby.
yeah. No, for like, we should applaud gun violence, but it will be funny as shit when that guy gets shot. Like, I will laugh my ass off. Be like, you fucking moron. Like, sometimes you earn getting shot.
Yeah. Okay.
Well-
yeah, if he's doing it all the time, okay. Yeah, if he's doing this like repeatedly, I guess if you did it once because your own bike got stolen,
Yeah.
and be like, yeah, okay, you got your bike back in a simple,
Now,
way.
I would applaud him if people came to him and was like, somebody stole my bike. He's like, cool, I'll go on Craigslist, find it, get it back for you. But it turns out he just steals another bike. He just drives around looking for easy bikes to steal. It just steals you another bike. And when he hands it to you, you're like, that's not my bike. He's like, yeah, it is. Yeah,
It's basically a Ponzi scheme.
Yeah. I would actually kind of applaud that. I'd be like, that's pretty cool, actually.
that would rule.
That's just having a good hobby.
Everyone's pretty jealous of Seattle's Bike Batman, read one headline about the rush of taking matters. The rush.
Whoa.
Hell yeah.
The
Danny's
big
getting
A
quiet.
headline where? A headline in his own newspaper?
Well,
Yeah.
again, since heaven forbid we ever click through a link, City Lab.
Oh.
Yeah. Look,
Everyone wants that libidinal thrill
Yeah.
of taking matters
life?
into your own hands.
there's like reading about the Seattle Bike Batman. I have a rush of blood going to my crotch.
That sucks, dude.
That'd be so rad. Like, one of those like Predator vision of a guy reading the newspaper and then the blood.
That's basically Danny at this point writing this article.
Totally. Okay, where did we leave off?
He's not like convincingly thrilled though. I feel like Danny's just like sort of lamely going through the motions here.
I think he's giving us clues. He's very thrilled.
Yeah.
This was like what he could.
I think he was.
could get
I
past
think
his
he's-
publisher.
Yeah, I don't know. I think
The boat's divided.
yeah.
A boat divided cannot float. About the rush of taking matters
He's
into
doing his marital duty.
matters into your own hands when the authorities won't help. Most theft victims aren't looking to be heroes. They just want their stuff back. But because stolen stuff has become so easy to track online, no, it hasn't. The internet.
What does that even mean?
Yeah.
I mean, occasionally people sell stuff
every product that's sold in America is a completely unique product. There's never a second of it. So
the internet has created a generation of amateur detectives. So again, we're just sort of extrapolating.
Oh my God, this is.
I've also been on 4chan, dude. I am aware. All right, I've seen the Q proofs.
This is the laziest bullshit trend piece I've ever read.
Yeah,
like,
it's not good.
He needs to read the AP style guide for bullshit trend pieces, and he would know that he needs to back this up. Some of this shit up with some bullshit data.
No, because Danny probably had a lawn gnome stolen from the front of his house, and this whole thing is basically his dream piece of his desire to have engaged in online, figured this out online, engaged in a little vigilante.
This is his.
I maintain that it's cynical, but go on.
His fantasy evening with a young sailor.
Well, Danny, I know you're listening. Why don't you get back with us about whether this is cynical or real?
Yeah, please tell us.
I'm not convinced by. I don't sense any bloodlust coming off of this.
All right,
that's a thing I have a nose for, and I just think this is just clickbait.
All right,
It is
we've
partially
clicked
that.
on it already, so we're gonna read more.
That's what happened in this story. Within a few hours of someone cutting the lock on a storage shed in a Greenwood condo building and taking $2,500 worth of power tools and sports equipment. It was probably Burl Durkman, right, guys? The stuff showed up for sale on the marketplace site OfferUp.com, where it was...
Thanks for the shout-out.
Where it was immediately flagged by the tech-savvy victim.
The tech-savvy victim. I love...
Yeah.
Oh, that's some boomer nonsense right there. He's a web developer, so he knows how to use the search
savvy
bar
with the
in
tech.
an app. You know?
Well, I don't know what to tell you, man. He's an amateur detective.
Like Batman.
Exactly like Batman. He called police and was told they didn't really have the resources to help. Although, surprisingly to him, an officer suggested he try arranging a buy bust. And police could help him with the sting.
So wait, which is it?
Well, I think it's
parse this conversation, Danny. What was he told? He was told at first they don't have the resources. Then in the same sentence they did.
Well,
I mean,
it's that scene in Black Klansman when they're talking to David Duke. It's like a cop laughing. He's like, "Yeah, dude, we're gonna go. Let's join forces and go catch this guy." And then there's people just laughing in the background.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have the resources, but he should organize a buy bus. Are you guys going to be there? Yeah, totally. Count on it. Count on us being there.
We're going to bring the tank, the grenade launcher.
We will very much be there.
Yeah. So after making an account under a false name on OfferUp, the man contacted the seller to buy his own golf clubs.
Also, doesn't make him special. Everybody's got an account under a false name on OfferUp.
He and the alleged thief arranged to meet at 7 p.m. in front of the Ram restaurant at Northgate. At the request of the police, the time was later changed to 8 p.m.
Hell yeah.
They set the time of the...
we need some more info here. Who are the officers in question? Do some fucking reporting.
I don't think any of that is ever, from what I recall.
He's just writing this like it's a funny trend piece or like a curio, but this is like some actual incompetence.
Knowing a little bit about Danny's previous work, I just don't think Danny's a very good reporter.
Dude, he
was not a reporter.
Ask a fucking question. Get some fucking names. Yeah. Did he ask SPD to fucking comment on any point? Did he ask this guy with the names and contact info of...
I imagine he asked. It sounds like he talked to him a little bit, so I imagine he asked him to comment. They probably were just like, "Oh, cool, Danny, we're going to tell you all about it. Just meet us in the Northgate parking lot at 8 o'clock."
They set the time of the meeting, the victim told me, speaking of the police. They were never saying, "Don't do this." As a police incident report put it, Redacted was also advised he has the option of setting up an in-person transaction with this seller for his stolen goods and notifying the law enforcement agency of where the transaction will take place to schedule a standby. On the big day, the man exchanged 8 calls with police, his phone records show, to plan the sting. With only a few minutes to go, he reached a dispatcher who he says told him, There was a call out for officers, but it was now uncertain if they would arrive. He probably should have retreated, he says, but he felt like this was going to be the only chance to get him. Again, not to get my stuff back, which ostensibly is the whole reason I'm doing this.
Yeah. What was it again? Golf
My
clubs?
golf
Just golf
Fuck
clubs.
off.
My nearly perfect blend of golf clubs.
Oh my god. That, I mean, right there. Like, that tells you, right, this is a
It's
guy who
giving it
got
away.
something stolen, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
This has not affected his life. This isn't,
Well, he can't go golfing.
this isn't the bike that he commutes across town to his
Right.
minimum wage job at. This is his fucking golf clubs and some power tools he never uses.
Come on, give him back,
and so
girl.
his interest here is getting him.
Well, he has a Javert mindset.
Yeah.
Across the parking lot, he sized up the alleged thief, who didn't appear to be armed, because that's a thing you can tell, and was 30 to 40 pounds lighter.
I like that basically he's like, oh, I think I could take it.
Yeah, I'm going to fuck this guy.
Then his before picture.
I guess I also thought the police might still come, he told me. So I went in. After some small talk and taking some photographs, he says he came out with it. We both know this is stolen, he says he told the alleged thief. It was stolen from me, and I'm taking it back. Can you imagine how awkward that was?
Yeah.
Well, for this dickhead, yeah, probably. Like,
Then he called 911 in front of him.
The shit rules.
He got very agitated, the man recalls. Also, when you call, like, the man... This is sort of confusingly written. Anyway,
yeah.
I had just taken a photo of him. There are lots of him and mans in this, but... And now I was on the phone with the cops. The dispatcher urged him not to make any contact with the man. Too late, in parentheses. He asked if the police could please hurry. While they were talking, though, the alleged thief turned and bolted across the parking lot. After a half hour with the police still not there, the man gathered up his old golf clubs and went home.
He didn't get his power tools?
No.
Also, I mean, I'm just picturing this situation of him being on the... Well, the guy's standing in front of him, and he's on the phone. He's like, oh... Yeah, please? Could you please hurry? Dude, that guy should have fucking just decked him, stole his phone, taken the golf clubs.
Stole the clubs like twice.
Yeah. Like fucking pantsed him and just left. Like,
oh my God.
Right in front of the Ram. Yeah.
No, seriously, like what
what a fucking dipshit, dude. Oh my God, that fucking rules.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Please come fast. He's right in front of me.
What do I do? What do I do?
This is some burn after reading shit because every single person involved in this story is a
brain
fucking
dead.
brain dead idiot. Yeah.
When I first,
I mean, the thief's no genius either.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah.
When I first presented this story to the Seattle Police Department, they pushed back. We wouldn't suggest a citizen go meet with the criminal. The thief could be armed and dangerous, they said. Plus, incorporating citizens directly into police operations presents huge liability issues. But ultimately, their own records confirmed it.
Well, it sounds like they just weren't very clear. It sounds like they used, and this makes so much sense, some fucking idiot cop used some cop lingo talking to some normal human. He said, yeah, you should set up a buy bust and call for a standby. Okay, sure, so that, you set up with them then, but he didn't explain to him, actually take him through that, like, you don't actually make contact. You just see that the person's there from a distance or something, or not at all, or not even that or something, and then call. Maybe you're not even supposed to be there, and the cop's thinking, like you just set a time, and then you call the cops and be like, hey, they say they're there. They just texted me they're at the spot. If they have my clubs, can you kill them, please?
Yeah, this is how you get your head blown off in a closet.
Well,
but seriously, That's what that sounds like to me. Just
Yeah,
some
for
fucking
real.
idiot cop.
So like
shooting his mouth off.
Yeah, it's like 5 or 6 years ago. It was either at the Everett or Marysville transit station. There was a shootout over a similar buy bust or whatever. And the funniest part about the whole story, so it was like this family of like a father and his like 2 sons had a chainsaw stolen. And instead of just like a normal human going to just a pawn shop and buying a fucking chainsaw, decided to set up this bust with somebody on OfferUp who was definitely selling their chainsaw, not just any fucking chainsaw.
Well, Leatherface really likes his chainsaw, so
So they went and they had this whole apparently elaborate plan that, of course, in very Coen Brothers fashion, immediately fell apart. And apparently one of our heroes here decided to pull out a gun like the second that the person who was selling it showed up, and the person who was selling it apparently showed up with a friend as well. And because it's Snohomish, they all had guns. So when the one guy pulled out a gun, of course they pulled out guns too. So then they all had guns and were just shooting in a transit parking lot
Holy
at like 5 p.m. at each other. And
Did they hit any bystanders?
yeah, good lord.
I can't remember if they ended up even hitting anybody, but the funny part is our heroes, the father and his 2 sons, got arrested for like shooting up a transit station. Cool. And they were apparently like very shocked by this whole situation. They called the police basically to come, yeah, we're doing this this buy bus thing and we've shot up the transit station, and the police arrested them, and they apparently were like just completely beside themselves. And the funny part of the story was I was working up there at the time, and we were laughing about it in the shop, and some guy's like, "Oh no, dude, I know those guys. Like they're really cool guys." Oh shit. Yeah.
That rules.
Great.
So yeah, the buy bus has a long, proud history.
Yeah,
It's just stuff. I'm just gonna say that immensely cliche thing.
Yeah, and literally,
it's just golf clubs.
A chainsaw
It's less than
at the,
stuff, Colin.
Yeah, it's nothing. And a chainsaw at a pawn shop is like nothing.
That chainsaw had eviscerated so many teenagers. There's so many memories made with that chainsaw.
They might find all that hair caught up in the chain, you know?
It's immensely problematic for us, conceded Sergeant Sean Whitcomb, a police spokesman. He had the promise or the suggestion of a police presence, and then that police presence wasn't delivered.
Thanks for summing up what we just told you, Sean.
Yeah. 3 years ago, there was a similar civilian buy-bust sting gone wrong, in which the police also didn't show. But that time, the thief pulled a gun on the citizen victim. After that, then Chief Kathleen O'Toole ordered police to discontinue such setups with citizens unless they were highly controlled and coordinated investigations by specialized teams and detectives.
I love the idea of like somebody having to step in and be like, "Guys, this is a bad idea. You should stop doing this."
Well, I mean,
yeah, that was the
someone
janitor,
should
right?
step in and say that about most things police do.
Well, it just shows like what an organization of idiots.
Bunch of fucking nitwits.
Yeah, like basically like some parent had to like an adult had to step in like their parents and be like, children, please. This is somebody's gonna get hurt. This is obviously stupid.
We needed to have someone assisting him directly, Whitcomb said of the Northgate parking lot sting.
We needed suppressing fire.
It's really an undercover operation, and the premise is we'll be there. Another civilian who went on one of these stings, a software engineer who lives on North Capitol Hill.
These software engineers are marching.
They're just so gullible.
Yep.
Said police did come on. Well, they believe in nothing else but systems, like literally.
Yeah.
I can say that as one of them. Said police did come along eventually for his scheme to fake buy his own stolen bike in a QFC parking garage. They swooped in with red lights flashing, and it was awesome, he says.
Jesus.
But he says it was touch and go. The cops were delayed, so I kept having to stall, he told me. I kept debating, what do I do if the police don't come? Do I just let this guy skate off with my $2,000 bike again? or do I take it back myself?
First off, he wouldn't
run?
skate off with the bike. He'd ride off with it.
Well, hopefully. The police never said, don't do this yourself. I got the feeling they don't have a standard playbook.
Again, I love these people find out the police are all fucking idiots in their own individual ways, you know?
I bet we're going to see a lot more of this sort of thing. This is Danny again, I think. An aside here. This sort of thing, as online registries to track stolen goods proliferate, such as Bike Index for stolen bikes. To me, the police have little choice but to welcome the amateur detective help. But man, they've got to show up.
Well, I one time when I was in college and was visiting the Texas A&M campus, cannot recommend. It's a, one of the things it's known for is that it's fucking enormous. It has like 60,000 students, and the campus is just
Good God.
the size of a fucking town. And one of the programs they had on the campus, which I was always like, well, why don't you just do this as a city, was the college just bought a bunch of fucking bicycles, just a bunch of fucking regular shitty old bicycles, and basically just threw them out all over campus and painted A&M on them or whatever. It was like, yeah, campus is big. It can be far from one class to another. Just grab a bike. And they're not locked up or anything. It's just bikes just laying around. And
right.
If you want one, you just find the nearest one towards you and just ride to your place you want to go, and you just drop it on the ground and go into class, and then somebody needs a bike, they just grab one. And they just bought a bunch of them, so they're everywhere, right? And it's like, you could just do that as a city, right? Again, the only reason why we have this issue of people stealing bikes and stuff is that we treat it as the scarce good when it really isn't. There's no reason why you should have a limitation on bikes. Just have
we treat all goods as scarce.
Yeah, scarce goods. Yeah, it's
only because
we create the
someone's
circumstance,
hoarding the
right?
fucking goods, man.
yeah, and so we create the circumstance in which theft is necessary, right? So the real answer is, if your bike's stolen, steal somebody else's bike. All right, let's create an economy of just stolen bikes. Nobody ever purchase a bike again. Just only steal bikes.
That's cool. That is good advice. Do you want to hear the end of this?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, we're almost done.
Yeah.
I didn't name either of the victims in these cases because the alleged thieves are still out there.
Yeah, I'm sure that if you named them, they would seek retribution.
Oh, completely.
They'd show up like Tony Soprano.
Well, in one case, the suspect has a history of assaults.
Whatever.
Even in the bike sting where the cops came and made an arrest in the QFC garage, the suspect was let go from King County Jail the next day.
He wasn't held for life.
Yeah, they didn't hang
trial.
him.
Yeah, we have a bike theft.
Wasn't electrocuted that day.
He wasn't held as a flight risk.
They just tie bricks around him and throw him in the lake.
You mean everyone who's arrested for a petty crime, unless they're whose rights are even barely being respected?
Well, well, get this. It was bad enough that they just let him out. But that was despite an outstanding felony charge against him for setting a fire, as well as multiple counts of theft.
Dun dun. Yeah, sounds like nothing's been proven or convicted, so who cares?
Yeah, neither of you look convinced, huh?
Yeah.
I thought that was going to work.
It's the country with the largest prison population. Human history doesn't arrest enough people. I mean, it's obviously on its face fucking stupid. That and I think people don't understand that they've all every one of us in this boat, everyone listening to this has engaged in a wide variety of crimes over their lives.
Man.
Because literally everything you do in this country is a crime on some level.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. And so it's if you put
knowing
everybody in jail
that
for
and getting
life
away with it is the only happiness I have.
Yeah. And it's if you put people in jail for life for any crime, they could, there would be nobody left.
Which is why what we were saying earlier, the actual purpose of jail is to get rid of populations you don't want to see.
100%.
Yeah.
And so that's why everything has to be illegal, because then you have the toolbox you have to put away someone you want to get rid of because you just do. So white and passing as middle class on the street, I have not been arrested for any of my many crimes.
Yeah. Well, it's why prison populations tend to reflect like the reviled elements of the society, right? Yeah. So in a country that is specifically racist against black people, the prison population is going to be predominantly black, right? So these things don't happen coincidentally. Yeah, it's about removing people. And, it's also why the prison population boomed after the 1970s, where we had this giant reversal in the American economy, and finance started to take back, started to put itself back in the driver's seat, and there was a lot of excess labor population that didn't need to exist anymore, and so put them in prison. Problem solved. But I love this. This is like real safe Seattle stuff.
Oh yeah,
like a Wajimaya person who was like,
the second generation of Wajimaya. Right?
Yeah, it was like, police arrest a shoplifter, but I see him here again like next week. And it's like, yeah, no shit.
Yeah, he's still allowed to live. I do not understand. Why he breathes my air.
Yeah, why were they not shot like behind the building?
Why didn't Judge Dredd show up? And
that's what they want. Fucker. They totally want that.
Well, they all look at Judge Dredd as like aspirational, or
their ideal, their platonic ideal of justice and policing. Well, he's gonna lay an Eric Johnson-esque little turn of phrase here. He was due in court over the summer, but didn't show. Dun dun. The software engineer who managed to sleuth back his own bike knows where he is. At least on the internet. It's kind of an
cool. We'll send police onto the internet to arrest him. From that movie Lawnmower Man, I understand it to be a series of navigatable tubes.
Oh yeah, what was that Jessie Slaughter video with her dad? Wasn't he like, I called the internet police on you or something?
Hell yeah.
It's some viral video from the old days of the internet. But it's kind of an obsession of mine, he told me. I'm back.
Healthy.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, again, like this is
just
none of this
stalking this man online.
None of these instincts are things that you should indulge or feed.
Yeah, yeah. But that's exactly what Danny's doing.
I'm
My
back
petty need for revenge is all I live for.
I'm back to tracking his online accounts. Cool.
Yeah.
He's got a whole bunch of new stuff for sale that is obviously stolen.
How's that?
Just
obvious?
Let it go. Like seriously, just fucking let it go.
Well, why is it obviously stolen? He has things. He should have nothing.
And that was it. That was the end.
Yeah.
So what do you think, Greg?
Are you ready to take up the mantle of vigilantism?
Well, yes, but toward other targets. But no, I still think that at least just based on this alone, I'm unconvinced that Danny was really getting any thrill out of it. I think he was cynically exploiting the general, like, I think he's a cynical crime, sensationalist crime reporter is what it sounds like. Sounds like any fucking TV news producer story, like.
Well,
do like some, Nightcrawler shit.
Do you think if our software engineer was a good guy with a gun, he would have gotten his stuff back?
I think he would have gotten his nut off.
He might have shot his nut off.
Trying to get out of his sweatpants, shoots himself in the leg like Plaxico Burress. Hell yeah, that'd rule.
Yeah, wearing like his startup's free T-shirt.
Oh God, yeah, fuck.
Yeah. Well, that would be like the Seattle Vigilantes. They'd have like an app to summon them instead of the light in the sky. They have to get on like an app.
Hell yeah. Yeah, Greg's ready to die.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think that's it.
Yeah. No new patrons. Do better, guys.
Yeah.
All of you.
Where y'all at? Where you been?
You all missed out on the great cube steak conspiracy.
Yeah, intelligent cube steak. Some of you have never played PlayStation in 1990 something, and it shows.
That cube steak story was great, though. You guys should check
I think about it like every day now.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
It's all I've thought about since I read
every day. I just think about it.
So
it's on the Patreon, everybody.
Yeah, go check that shit out.
Yeah, along
That
with
and many other
hundreds
stories.
of other episodes.
1,000 hours of content.
Yeah.
This was a Patreon show before it was a free show, so there's even more episodes.
We've been
there.
doing this for 7 years.
Yeah.
All of this is true.
Greg used to be pro Jenny Durkan, actually. That's how long this has been going on for.
Yeah, we're horseshoeing it. We're just like, it's like a perpetual
Merry-go-round.
Yeah, it's a perpetual motion
It
machine.
was just
here.
Greg and Saul Spady hosting the show.
Political zoetrope.
Well, they're two halves of one whole,
Mm-hmm.
just like in the Dark Crystal.
Oh my God. No, don't pervert that. Ew, I'm picturing me coming back together with Saul Spady, and it's...
Saul is a Skeksis.
The dudes are merging.
I don't like it.
Oh, man. It's funny. Anyway, okay. Well, thank you for listening. Check us out on Patreon if you haven't, because we do have some great stuff out there. It's only $5 a month. So, yeah, thanks for listening. Until next time. Bye.